So what do you get if you cross a Cybertron toy with a Universe toy? Well, this. Hello everyone, it's me, Robert, also known as the Fallen 835, back for another review. But before I review the figure today, a bit of housekeeping, as Ray would say. Over the past week, a lot of stuff has been brought up about AA, a lot of exciting stuff that's happening. The programme of events has been released, and Swerve's Bar has also been released. But first of all, I have now finished watching Cybertron. I finished this Monday, and it's sort of, now I've watched all of the Unicron trilogy as well. Yeah, wow. I've been watching that on and off for the past 4 or 5 years, so it's quite an achievement, and I haven't got insane yet, even though you could go insane watching all 3 of those series if you don't really like them. But for me, Cybertron, the ending was amazing. For a great series, which could be the best in the Unicron trilogy. I'm not going to debate that in this video, because then I'll start rambling on, but possibly. But it was a good ending, and I'm definitely going to be looking out for Cybertron or Galaxy Force bots at AA. And yeah, also at AA, I will probably be buying some bots off of Andy Millman. If you don't know who he is, Cobra Commander TFW on YouTube. Last year, I got Jetfire, which is an awesome bot. And so this year, I may be purchasing another bot. But you'll have to wait until then to find out. I'll probably be playing with it on the Friday, if I do get it. Yes, Swerve's Bar, which is a good idea, because last year at Auto Assembly, the main thing that everyone, not necessarily criticised, but said that could be improved was the food, and the price of food, the price of drink, and it was just ridiculous. So this year, with Swerve's Bar, they're offering affordable food for the actual AA attendees, and it's done out as Swerve's Bar on the Lost Light, which is so cool. It's going to be quite cool, and it make it a lot easier for people who are going there on a budget to actually buy food for the weekend. There is only a couple of worries that I have. Firstly, hopefully that the bar is, or / restaurant, is managed enough so that they don't run out of stock, because there is a lot of people going to this year's AA, and that many hungry faces, hungry bellies want feeding. Yeah, you can see a problem that food might start to run out. And also that you may have to wait a long time for food. It depends on how quickly they are at serving the food. So just a couple of little worries there, but I'm sure they'll get everything done and fixed, because the AA team are excellent and they do a brilliant job, so carry on guys. So also, on the programme for AA, there is going to be a podcast panel, a UK podcast panel, which will include the Moonbase 2, the Underbase, and the Nerdsphere. And as me and Jim are in a podcast reviewing Transformers comics, we are going to be attending that Q&A to ask questions, because let's face it, these podcasts have been going for many years. They have the experience of years, and we haven't even been going for a year yet, so it would be good to go there, ask questions, and just get a bit of helpful advice. And finally, Dan Gilderson, who will be attending Auto Assembly, his book. And I was never really a huge fan of Generation 1 Bumblebee. He's alright. And I never really thought about his book until apparently I've been ordered it. First thing I've known about this. Yeah, so I've got the book coming now, which means I've got less than 3 weeks to read it. That is going to be so fun. On top of everything else that I've got to do before AA. Yeah, that's going to be good. No, but I look forward to reading his experiences and hopefully getting it signed at AA. And definitely if you're reading it, bring it to AA to get it signed. So, on to the figure. And today we will be reviewing Universe Countdown. Now then, a bit of bio about Countdown. Countdown is an explorer first and foremost. He's visited thousands of inhabited worlds and become legend with the inhabitants for overthrowing titans and monsters where he finds them. Now, he's also fighting the Decepticons to try and overthrow them on planets. So he's basically your sort of space explorer. He's basically Enterprise, the crew of the Enterprise summed up into one Transformer. That's how I look at him anyway. And he first appeared in Transformers Zone, the last Generation 1 Japanese exclusive TV series, which was only one episode, and he appeared briefly as a Micromaster because he was originally a Micromaster. He then appeared in Dreamwave's Micromaster series. I haven't read any of that, so I really don't know what happens in that. Apparently it's quite bad, from what I've heard. And he hasn't appeared in IDW yet, so it'd be interesting to see if he does pop up in either More Than Meets the Eye or RID. But enough of me talking about the character, onto the toy itself. So, here is Countdown in his vehicle mode, and firstly, this mode is the Transformers Cybertron Defense Red Alert. Basically, in Cybertron, halfway during the TV show, Red Alert got a new Orc mode and new body, and this was it, a huge missile truck carrier with a giant missile on the top. And the paint scheme for him was this white, blues, generally a bit of a more drab colour scheme. However, I think this mould works so well for Countdown because Generation 1 Micromaster Countdown, his accessory was a rocket base. You got this huge rocket which came with him. Now, as you can see, this mould has the rocket, which is awesome. And the rocket can be detached. I'll show you that in a minute. But mainly the paint scheme on here, you have red, you have basically the prime paint scheme. The red, the white and the blue. And the original Countdown was red, he was white, and also on the rocket was slightly blue. So I do love the use of it. And generally, this is just a beefed up Transformer, isn't it? Huge, massive roll. All these wheels roll. He has 6 wheels, actually no, 8 wheels. And they all roll really well. And he's just chunky. He's a chunky, big, massive artillery truck. And you can sort of put that up if you want, but hey ho, it doesn't really do much. But yeah, in terms of the articulation, I suppose, the rocket bay does pivot up and down on this lovely ratchet joint, so you can have him in a sort of firing mode, ready to fire off the rocket, and the rocket does come off. You simply slide it off like so, and it comes detached, and so you have a giant rocket, which is awesome. I do like the paint scheme they've done on this rocket. It looks a hell of a lot like the Generation 1 accessory that the original Micromaster came with. Very nice homage there. Nice paint detailing in the back with the thrusters. Generally, yeah, it's good. It could look wrong, I suppose. You could sort of, yeah, that could be made to look wrong. But hey ho, and simply it just slides back on this rack here. But I like the look of him without the rocket, frankly, because I've always thought that this sort of rocket base here could be some sort of railgun. Like in the Halo universe, they use huge, massive magnetic acceleration cannons, and this could be one of them. It could be another weapon. It could. And also, you could fit a Micromaster or a Minicon or whatever onto the actual top there. And he has Minicon ports over him. He's got one there and one on the other side. But yeah, really nice, thick, chunky mode. Now, he does have a Cyber Planet key because he is a repaint of the Cybertron mold. There's his planet key, as you can see. Okay, I mean, it's not the best painted, but most of the paint actually goes onto the bot. And what you simply do is take it to the back, plug it in, and BAM! The huge massive rocket just became a huge massive cannon of destruction and mayhem, and it looks so nice. As you can see, the inside of the cannon is painted in this translucent blue, which works so well because, and I haven't done this, which I should have done, you can put AA batteries in here, I believe, and when you activate the gimmick, this does all light up. All of this lights up in red, which would look really nice and does make a sort of noise, but as I said, I can't be bothered to put in the batteries. But I just like it anyway. It doesn't really need batteries in my opinion. because it just looks awesome as it is. So yeah, you can have that, and so you can. This also works when the cannon is disconnected, like so. So you can have it as a free roaming giant missile launching attack. And as you can see, the missile here does fire due to the button, but I'm not going to do that because I'll lose it. No, me. Fun. So yeah, lovely, lovely alt mode, chunky. Hardly any robot junk on the bottom. I suppose you can see that there's sort of his legs there, but apart from that, a very nice truck mode, and I absolutely love it. So, now that we've looked at his truck mode, onto his transformation. So, while I transform Countdown into his robot mode, I'm going to talk about Countdown really, because he hasn't really done much. I mean, he was in Zone, but that's it, and in the comics, but not really much. And I really do like it that when they came to the Universe line, they thought, well, why don't we give this toy, which, face it, hasn't had much repaints, a very good repaint. That being the Cybertron Defense Red Alert mould, which I do like. I will be looking out for that mould at AA, because, frankly, I just love this mould. It's so nice. It's awesome. And yeah, I don't care if I have two of them. But Cybertron, because there's not much more to say about Countdown. Cybertron's ending, for me, sums up everything that was good about the Unicron trilogy. The end, if you haven't seen the ending of Cybertron, basically, here's a bit of a spoiler for you. If you don't want to hear, just skip this part. Galvatron gets killed. The Autobots win, everything's happy and dandy, and it's like, yay, they've won. It's just your common ending to a Transformers series. However, at the very end of the show, there's a bit of a montage where the Transformers are going off into the galaxy to chart new star systems, etc. And there's a clip where you see all of the previous kids from the show. You see the Armada lot, you see all of them grown up, because I think it takes place 5 years after the first two series, and you see Kicker, even though he was so annoying and one of the most annoying characters in the Transformers Unicron trilogy, you still see him at the end, and it's like, yeah, it's not only the end of Cybertron, it's the end of the Unicron trilogy, and for me, it should have, that era of Transformers should have ended like that. It shouldn't have gone to Michael Bay, because Michael Bay just completely and utterly ruined it, in my opinion. Even though that's what got me into Transformers in the first place. Strange how over time your views about stuff can change, isn't it? But yeah, I really wish that Cybertron, when Cybertron ended, they left it for a couple of years, and then went back to it with, I don't know, Prime, and just missed the movies altogether. But the movies are a necessary evil, so what can I say? Stiff. But yeah, certain characters in Transformers Cybertron, Scourge for example, get some taking used to. You have to watch several of the episodes first of all to actually put up with them. Because at first you're like, okay, Scourge is against the Autobots, he's this tyrant that's leading Jungle Planet, but then he's sort of a softie, but now he's with the Decepticons, and now he's a softie, and then at the very end he sort of becomes good. But you have to follow it closely to try and get their characters build up. Vector Prime, awesome character. When he died, I was like, it'd be awesome. Actually, I really do want to read Transformers Cybertron The Balancing Act, which is the, I think it's like a prequel or a sequel to Cybertron. It's all about Vector Prime and sort of his journeys through the different universes. And I think it ties in with the Wings of Honor universe, the BotCon universe, and all that sort of stuff. But it'd be quite interesting to read, actually, and see more about his ventures. And I'll definitely be looking for Vector Prime at AA, because that bot looks so nice, unbelievably nice. Noise Maze, or Sideways as he's known in the American one, good character, I liked him. I prefer Armada Sideways though, just because he's a bit more evil, a bit more treacherous, a bit more double-crossing than the Sideways in Cybertron. But still, it's an awesome character. Is that everything? Yeah. So yeah, overall, Cybertron was a great series. What shall I be watching next? I don't have a clue, really. Hey, I might get into Beast Wars, who knows, or Beast Machines, because it's on Love Film. I think the first 2 seasons of Beast Machines are on Love Film, so yeah, I'll probably watch those. After AA though, because I've got a lot of stuff before AA to do. And during that rambles, I have actually transformed this bot into his, well, let's just say his OTT Orc mode. So, time to look at him in his robot mode. So, here is Countdown in his robot mode. And now the reason I have the huge massive cannon up is because if I push this down, basically, it's just a bit OTT. Basically, he has now a giant cannon off of him, and I don't know if the camera will actually pick it up, but yeah, I love this robot mode. It is thick, it's chunky, and to me it just says Wrecker. That just looks so awesome, frankly. He looks like he's the type of guy who would come around and beat the living crap out of you if you talk to him badly, basically. And first of all, the head sculpt, I really like it. Now, none of this is a remold, it's just a direct repaint of the actual Cybertron toy. But the head sculpt works so well for Countdown, because as I said, the original Countdown figure had this white, sort of a blue, I believe he had a blue visor, but the head sculpt is just so nice. And there is light piping to it. I don't know if it's showing, but there is light piping. And again, lovely details on the chest. This red and white theme carrying on throughout the whole figure, and down to his massively oversized legs, which is so cool. But then again, you need the legs to support this giant rocket on the top, which is overkill in my opinion. That's just overkill. But it can become more overkill. Yes, you can add more weapons to this guy, but before I do that, articulation. His head is on a swivel. It can swivel left and right, but that's about it because of the transformation. His arms can swivel at the elbow. They can move backwards and forwards on the top joint because of transformation, and they can also bend at the elbow, swivel, and the wrists can turn as well. So a lot of articulation in the hands. He has a waist swivel, which is really, really nice. You don't see waist swivel on many figures these days, and it's nice, especially on this figure, which needs his support. His legs can go out on... Oh, that ratchet joint is amazing. It really is a nice ratchet joint. So they can go out, they can move forward and backwards. They can bend at the knee on, again, a lovely, lovely ratchet joint. And at the back here, his back of his toes can be articulated depending on what stance you have in them. So overall, huge amounts of articulation for this figure. It's just awesome. Now, he does have some features in this mode. Once again, the Cybertron gimmick, the key gimmick, does work if you put it in here. But the main feature is he comes with this. His gun accessory, which forms part of the truck in his Orc mode. But as you can see, it's a sort of nice cannon. And what you can do is there's 2 pegs on the side. There's 2 pegs on either arm. Depending on what arm you want to put it in. I'll put it in this arm. And you basically put the pegs on the arm, and now you have one of his arms as a cannon. So he's even more overpowered than before. But that's not all, because you can add even more accessories to this guy, because this guy just keeps on giving. Basically, you can open up his legs here, and you'll see that there's bits inside. These bits inside are actually accessories which you can add to the gun. Now, getting them out is a pain, so I'll try and get this out first. So that simply folds out, and as you can see, it's a jackhammer of types, and it does have a spring. And you can simply add that onto the front of the cannon to become a giant hammer. Because that's what a bot with a giant missile needs. He just needs a giant hammer on the end of his gun. Yeah. Bit overkill, but hey. And then, of course, if you don't want that accessory, you can come to the bottom, go to this leg, get out this accessory, which is more of a pain because it just is, and I'm going to have to do this off camera because it's annoying, okay? And it's some sort of hook, and you can put it on the gun like before, and now he has the claw. He has the claw for a gun. Again, brilliant. Absolutely love it. It's a lovely accessory that they didn't have to put on, but they did with a figure that is, frankly, in my opinion, awesome. So yeah, you can have him with a giant gun, a claw, just looking so awesome, so menacing. It's this figure. I cannot praise this figure enough, frankly. So should you get this? Definitely go ahead. Try and find him at AA. Which version would I recommend? Countdown. Get Countdown. Mainly because of the paint. The paint on here is 10 times, in my opinion, 10 times better than on the original Defense Red Alert. That had a more white, plainish colour scheme. This has a much more red, fluent, and this works so well in your classic / universe / generations line, whereas the Cybertron one sort of only fitted in that line, whereas him can sort of fit in both lines. So you could sort of stand him next to your Springer, next to your Generations Cup, and he would look awesome. Trust me, he fits that line perfectly. So that was pretty much it for my review of Countdown. He's a big bot, thick plastic, chunky piece of just generally universe goodness, which you have to pick up if you're going to AA this year. It's a must-have for anyone who hasn't got this. So, that has been my review of Countdown. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week for another review, as AA is now 3 weeks away. It's getting ridiculous, isn't it? But until then, bye everyone, enjoy your day.